Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues in English. He spoke good things about China, and he also said that this relationship between China and France needs to go beyond the United States of America and most importantly India and Saudi Arabia. We're talking about thousands and thousands of jobs. We're talking about big money again coming through sporting into Saudi Arabia, and apart from the fact that Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Now, apparently in Russia, inflation has fallen below 4%. Now, it touched in 2022, it touched 17.5%. Things were really expensive after the sanctions were imposed by the West on Russia. But somehow what is happening is now inflation is coming down, things are becoming cheaper. And because of de-dollarization, because of Russia, there are various factors, and I'm not an economist. But what little I have analyzed is this, that because of Russia saying that we are willing to trade in local currencies, like for example, India buys oil from Russia and buys it in rupees. So if Russia wants to buy anything from India, we are happy to buy it in rubles or rupees or whatever is our currency. Similarly with China. So Russia has India, Russia has China, and Russia has a host of other countries who are willing to deal with Russia in their local currencies. So this de-dollarization has had a very stabilizing effect on Russia. And it's a good thing too. I don't know who decided that dollar should be the currency of choice for the rest of the world. I don't know who decided this long time back. But it was always that we have so many dollars and you have so many dollars. Everybody got behind that, that train of saying that we need more dollar deposits and this is our dollar deposits, etc. But this de-dollarization is really good. This unipolar world that the US has tried to protect for a very long time, that we are alone, the only superpower in the world. France has started defying the United States of America. We covered this recently that, the French president, Macron, went to Beijing. And when he came back, he said that, he spoke good things about China. And he also said that, this relationship between China and France needs to go beyond the United States of America. And most importantly, about Europe. That was his thrust, if I got that correctly. His thrust was that, Europe needs to move out of being playing second fiddle to the United States of America. Europe has its own identity and all that. So he made these few points and China was happy. India said, okay. And America was very upset. And America said that Trump used some derogatory language, as Trump is used to using. And other people also said a lot of bad stuff about Emmanuel Macron. But the fact of the matter is, this is exactly why India bought. This is one of the reasons, not exactly why, but one of the reasons why India is engaging with France at so many levels. If you have a choice between buying an American jet and a French jet, it's not simply about which jet is better. Of course, that is the primary requirement, technologically, and which gives you bang for the buck. But also, which is a more reliable partner. So India buys Rafales. Buying Rafales has many, financial, military. When I say military, I mean the Indian Air Force, diplomatic reasons, economic reasons, financial reasons. One of them is also that, you need to push away American pressure. Because what America wants is India to spend all the money buying American defense equipment, which India will never agree to. And anyway, so with this we come to the second point, that the External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, he went to Mozambique, a country in Africa, the continent of Africa, and he rode a train which is made in India. And you can see these images of External Affairs Minister Jaishankar with his Mozambican counterpart. And this is something that India has been doing very well in a lot of African countries. Only yesterday we covered that, India gave Uganda clean drinking water, piped water, and it went to, I think, 20 odd areas, 20 villages in 20 areas. And in India said that, this problem of hepatitis, this problem of diarrhea, this problem of sicknesses related to stomach and bad water, they're very prevalent in Uganda. And India is laying an entire network of clean drinking water in Uganda. Yesterday, or day before yesterday, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar inaugurated clean drinking water in Uganda, and now inaugurating a train, made in India train, which is now running in Mozambique, using Mozambican tracks and running there. And there he's explaining what India can do. So what India wants to do in Africa is bring development, bring prosperity according to the wishes of the African people. Now, this is radically against what China is doing. I was talking to somebody and I gave this example, and all of us had a big laugh that, let's say there is a village and, a poor African village, and there is an Indian delegation and the Chinese delegation, and, the Indian delegation says, okay, you don't have food, so your first priority is food. You don't have a hospital, so probably you need a clinic. This is your priority number 2. You need education. 3, work for the men and women there. 4, and maybe decent roads, because during monsoons you'll be cut away from the rest of the country. 5. So India makes a list and says, okay, these are your priorities, and we are going to start with food. So here is food, and then let's also talk about agriculture, short term, long term. Okay, you don't have water, here's some water, but let's also talk about piped water for you. So this becomes a permanent thing. Schools, okay, here are some books, here are some teachers, and start off, and we are also building a school for you. So this is how India works. China comes to the same village. Poverty stricken, people, really, really down in the dumps because of a lot of hunger and disease. And the Chinese delegation lands there in a fancy helicopter and says, ladies and gentlemen, what you need is a $5 billion international airport. That is the difference between Indian help and Chinese help. This is the way China has been helping countries. It's been helped countries like Sri Lanka and Pakistan also. Helped a lot of African countries by making things which people do not need. How do they get project approvals? The Chinese pay the corrupt politicians there in that country. We'll build an airport for you. We'll build an airport which costs $2 billion. We'll build a fancy airport for you. Oh, sir, we don't need an airport. No, you actually need an airport. The Chinese will build it. We'll send a Chinese company. We'll send Chinese labor to build it. Don't worry, you'll have the airport ready in 2 years. We'll work day and night, and we'll ensure that within 2.5, 3 years, you have a brilliant international airport. Here's some money, sign the papers. This is how China works. This is why Sri Lanka, we saw those images and those videos of riots in Sri Lanka. That was all orchestrated by China, This is what China has done to many countries. So hats off to Dr. Jaishankar and hats off to the Modi government for doing these things for the people of Africa. They really need our help, and we should help them, but we should take their inputs first. It's very important to sit down with African people and say, okay, you tell us, what do you need? What is it that you require? Rather than us telling you that, okay, since we are signing the checks, we will tell you what you require. That's not the right way to go about it. All right? Okay. Another interesting news, is that IPL is going to Saudi Arabia. IPL is the most successful cricket league in the history of cricket, right? It is bigger than anything in cricket in terms of money, in terms of eyeballs, in terms of audience, in terms of the quality of cricket. There is nothing bigger than IPL. And the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, is truly a visionary. That man is a visionary. He sees a Saudi Arabia beyond oil, because oil is a depleting resource, and God isn't making any new oil. So whatever oil is there. And one day this oil will finish. And what happens to Saudi Arabia? What happens to oil producing countries? They need to start developing other sources of revenue and income for their country. Otherwise the country will collapse. And this is where the vision, the foresightedness of Mohammed bin Salman comes in. Dubai is a model, right? Dubai, city-state, very rich, not lacking in any sort of resource, does not have oil of Saudi Arabia and the UAE. The entire thing is built upon retail, being a financial hub, being a commercial hub, shipping containers coming and going, a banking hub, a tourist hub. That is how Dubai makes its money. Real estate. That's how Dubai makes its money. And this is how Saudi Arabia wants to make money. So of course, Saudi Arabia has huge income from the Hajj, but it can't depend only on the Hajj, people coming to Mecca and Medina. So what it is doing is creating an entire sporting ecosystem, a sports ecosystem. So you'll have Formula One races there, you'll have football clubs, you'll have, people playing basketball and athletics. And of course, who can forget the world-beating IPL? So IPL will go to Saudi Arabia. And I think this will benefit both India and Saudi Arabia. We're talking about thousands and thousands of jobs. We're talking about big money again coming through sporting into Saudi Arabia. And apart from the fact that, Saudi Arabia does not have a cricketing culture per se. I mean, Arabs are not known for cricket, but they're very deeply interested in cricket and they've started having their own small teams. And because Saudi Arabia can put up infrastructure really fast, I think it's a good idea for the Indians to go take their leagues to Saudi Arabia and have an IPL in Saudi Arabia. Why not? Call it the Indian Saudi Premier League or something like that. I don't know what they're thinking about, but we should have a Premier League in Saudi Arabia also. And there is this two quick stories, one from Pakistan, one from China. Bilal Sarwari is an Afghan journalist, and Bilal Sarwari, he reacted to the recent threat made by Khaja Asif, the defense minister of Pakistan, the most unemployed man in Pakistan. Khaja Asif said, we will attack Afghanistan because all these TTP terrorists come out of Afghanistan and they hit us and they go back into Afghanistan and Pakistan will sort out Afghanistan, etc. He made very juvenile threats against Afghanistan. And so Bilal Sarwari tweets and he says, and I'm paraphrasing some of the stuff and you can read the tweet, is there on the screen. But but this threat business against Afghanistan doesn't work. And what could America do? What could America do? And this I'm adding from my side, what could Russia do? So two superpowers couldn't do anything in Afghanistan, both went away, defeated or signed a peace treaty or an accord with the Taliban. They went away. And Afghanistan is exactly like it was 50 years ago, or 40 years ago, when the Russians invaded in 1979. It was exactly like this. And war, and more war. And nobody has been able to dent Afghan pride. And then he says, you people don't have anything to eat here. And one of the reasons why I think the Afghans look down upon Pakistanis is not because Pakistan doesn't have money to eat or Pakistan does not have, funds for this and that. Because even Afghanistan does not have so much of money. But at least the Afghans have pride. The Afghans don't beg. And the more Pakistanis beg, the more they fall in the eyes of the Afghans. The more the Afghans laugh at them. They look at you. Because a man who's truly proud will prefer to stay hungry. Pakistanis are not hungry. They're just perennial beggars. They'll just keep on begging and begging and begging. And I think this is why most Afghans, I'm talking about 90% of the Afghans, they don't like Pakistan very much. Because of Pakistan's policy of interference in Afghanistan, also because of the attitude of the Pakistani elite. We have one more news, very interesting. Chinese police is using spies to ensure that Uyghur Muslims do not fast during Ramadan. So who are these spies? These are police people. They are people from the neighborhood. There's something called the neighborhood watch. So there are people from various societies, various colonies, various residential blocks who are spying on their neighbors. So any Muslim, who fasts during the holy month of Ramadan, who keeps his roza, any rozedar, is being caught by the police and thrown into prison for the crime of, keeping a roza, for the crime of following his religion. This is China. But I'm surprised that Pakistanis will not say anything. Pakistanis will not say anything to condemn. Pakistanis will keep on speaking about Palestine and Kashmir. Not a word against China. Not one word. And you know why? Because they take money from the Chinese. And every time they take money from the Chinese, they say, Alhamdulillah, we got money from the Chinese. Alhamdulillah, we got money from the Arabs. Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah that you got money from a foreign country. Okay. But the same Allah's followers are being persecuted in China. These are Muslims. These are rozedars. And they are being thrown into jail in their hundreds of thousands. Their families are being tortured. And Pakistan has nothing to say for it. Simply because I think Pakistan's final loyalties are only with money and not with Islam. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please press like, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.